Ah, shit. The one, the only, the queen of the Olympics, Miss Simone Biles, is making headlines because her husband was basically talking about how he's the prize. And this brings up a question. Can unambiguous monoracial black women be colorists? Or are we just going to pretend that that doesn't exist? Are we just going to pretend like unambiguous monoracial black women prefer unambiguous monoracial black men and they don't pedestalize lighter skinned men at all? I have seen this happen so many times throughout Hollywood. We saw this with Keke Palmer. In my opinion, Keke Palmer does seem to thirst after any guy who is lighter than her. I have seen that pattern with her where she was thirsting over Michael Ealy. She was thirsting over Tia Mowry's husband. And then she was with Darius. I think she's back with him again. And I'm not accusing and saying that any of these women are automatically with these guys because they have a lighter complexion or because they're mixed or whatever. I'm not accusing them of doing that, but it does make me question, is it possible for an unambiguous dark-skinned black woman to be colorist or to prefer to only date light-skinned men or to only date mixed-race men or to only date white men or non-black men? Is that possible? And why is it that if an unambiguous black man only dates out or he only dates women lighter than him, he's automatically a colorist? But have you ever noticed how if an unambiguous black woman tends to date men who are lighter than her, men who are anything except for her own phenotype, then it's not that she's a colorist? You're telling me that Simone Biles, who is a world-renowned Olympian, you're telling me that she had no options from unambiguous monoracial black men? That's disingenuous. Simone Biles, she's in shape. She fits the beauty standard, in my opinion. She has smooth, clear skin. She has straight white teeth. She has a nice hairstyle. So to imply that unambiguous monoracial black men wouldn't be attracted to her or that she couldn't find one out of all the billions of men on this earth, that sounds a bit disingenuous to me. So do you guys think it's possible for monoracial black women to be colorists when it comes to their dating preferences and to only want to get with an MLS man or to only want to get a white man or whatever? Is it possible that black women could potentially see men lighter than them as having some form of status? I mean, we see how they treat us MLS women. They pedestalize us and it makes them jealous a lot of times. And so why would it not be the same dynamic with MLS men or with lighter skinned men or men who are non-black? I mean, I've seen them on divestment channels bragging about how they can get a white man and, kind of like big upping Asian men or Latin American men and pedestalizing them. So if they pedestalize non-blackness in a lot of cases, why is it that suddenly when it comes to light-skinned men, oh no, it's impossible for an unambiguous black woman to view an MLS man as the prize? Oh no, that's impossible. And the reason I'm talking about this is because there was a recent interview with Simone Biles' husband. I still don't know his name to this day, but they were asking him, how did you pull Simone Biles? Like, how did you get someone as accomplished and as pretty and as successful as her? And this guy has the nerve to basically say he didn't know who she was and how they met on a dating app. And then he saw her on the dating app, and then it turns out Simone Biles had gone on his Instagram and liked all of his pictures and stuff. And he was talking about how Simone Biles drove 45 minutes just to hang out with him. And he also was talking about how basically he was afraid of commitment and he didn't really want to commit to her. But because she essentially chased him so hard, he decided, yeah, I'll go ahead and be with her. And even the interviewer, if you guys just Google it, be sure to Google that interview if you haven't watched it already. But even in the interview, even the guy who was interviewing them was like, wait, so you're basically saying that you're the prize? And this guy starts laughing. And throughout the interview, this guy was also talking about how he didn't even know who she was. First of all, Simone Biles, I don't even watch sports and I know who Simone Biles is. I know that she won the Olympics or something and that she's she's made history and stuff like that. But this guy had the nerve to say, oh, the first thing I saw was that she had a bunch of Instagram followers. So I was like, okay, she's got to be good. So really, nothing about her having a beautiful spirit, beautiful personality, being an amazing person. He says nothing about how lucky he is to have her in his life. He says nothing about how he loves her so much, how he can't wait to protect and provide for her. Nope. In fact, he not only did he not apologize for the way that he handled this interview, where he was basically making himself sound great and kind of humbling her throughout the entire interview. Not only that, but this guy doubles down on it and didn't care about all of the backlash he received. And I'm bringing this up because do you think it's possible for an unambiguous black woman to potentially be a colorist herself or to pedestalize anyone who is lighter than her or anyone who fits a certain phenotype? Is that possible? Because a lot of people don't want to talk about this. A lot of people don't want to talk about how oftentimes unambiguous women will chase any man who does not have her phenotype because she sees it as a flex to have mixed babies, to have light-skinned babies, to have biracial babies. I've seen this so many times. So I don't know why people like to pretend that every single other people group can fetishize certain people, but suddenly if you're an unambiguous black woman, there's no way that you could possibly prefer someone else's phenotype. There's no way you could possibly ever fetishize someone or pedestalize someone or view a guy as the prize or treat him special because of his complexion or treat him special because he fits how you wish you looked as a woman. Have you ever noticed how a lot of people, when they don't like how they look, they oftentimes will date someone who they wish they looked like? By the way, I'm not trying to accuse Keke Palmer or Simone Biles of doing this, but this did make me question in my mind. Hey, how come nobody talks about how unambiguous black women can pedestalize guys? And how sometimes black women can be pick-me's where they're chasing after guys. And I talk about this on this channel all the time, how a lot of the same women that don't like us, they will say that we are mediocre, they'll say that we're ugly, we're ramen noodle head ass bitches. Some of those same women will then turn around and have a crush on our brother. They'll turn around and want to date a guy who has the same phenotype as us. They'll want to date our male counterparts. Why is nobody else talking about this on YouTube? And this also ties into my decentering men talking point because I talk on this channel all the time about how oftentimes guys will use girls as kind of like a Barbara the Builder type of thing. I just looked it up and Simone Biles' net worth is higher than his. Obviously, her notoriety and her fame and her career is much higher than his, but I have seen this dynamic where oftentimes unambiguous women will do the same thing that we see unambiguous men doing in the NBA, where as soon as you get some fame, as soon as you get some notoriety, the first thing you do is you move out of the black community, you run to white communities, you run to date anyone who fits that quote unquote exotic phenotype in your eyes. And why does nobody talk about this dynamic potentially happening with unambiguous black women? Why does nobody talk about how it's possible for black women to pedestalize white men or to pedestalize men who do not have their phenotype? How come nobody's talking about this on YouTube? Why is nobody talking about how some women can center men or be so male-centered to the point where they will date hypogamously, they will get into relationships with men who are clearly not on their level, they will stay in relationships with disrespectful men who humiliate them in public, similar to women like Jodie Turner-Smith. This whole scenario with Simone Biles and her husband, it's identical and reminds me of the scenario with Jodie Turner-Smith and her white husband. Notice how he also didn't have the same phenotype as Jodie Turner-Smith. Could there have been a potential? Is it possible for an unambiguous black woman to pedestalize a man's phenotype so much so to the point where, yeah, maybe she's not black male-centered, but maybe she's white male-centered, maybe she is MLS male-centered, maybe she is rich male-centered, or some other form of male-centeredness that causes her to get into these embarrassing, humiliating relationships where you're a freaking gold medal Olympian and a world-renowned superstar, and then your own husband has the audacity to say, basically, I didn't know who she is, and, I wasn't really interested in committing to her, but she drove 45 minutes to come see me, and she liked all my pics on Instagram, and she had a lot of followers, so I was like, okay, like, who is this? Like, I'm not quite sure, but, she really wanted to marry me, so now I'm here. Not only that, but this guy in the interview had the audacity to say that he is the catch in the relationship and that the man is always the catch. So not only are you as a woman being male-centered, but then your own husband admits, not just in front of you, but publicly in front of the world on an international stage in front of all of social media, that he is the catch and that men are the catch. So basically, he's the prize. You better be glad you got him. Not only that, but this guy implies that when they first met that he didn't even take her on a date or do anything special. He said, she messaged me Tuesday and then we were texting back and forth and then we hung out Friday. We couldn't do much because COVID happened and everything was shut down, so she came down to Houston. She lived in the suburbs, so she had to drive 45 minutes to me. Then the rest is history. So it's like, okay, this guy, he didn't even take you on a date or plan a date. I mean, come on, you guys are millionaires, for God's sakes. You're telling me that somebody who is an NFL player and supposedly is wealthy and well off, you're telling me that this guy, with all of that money, he couldn't even plan anything special? So your first date is you driving 45 minutes to his house? So you can do what? Be a jump off? So you can do what? Sit in his bedroom and try to convince him to date you? I mean, I would hope that if a guy is in the NFL, that he would at least be able to have access to some sort of place where you can take a girl on a date, or you can like rent out a particular spot, or maybe you can travel somewhere potentially to where they don't have as many COVID restrictions. This guy sounds like he put absolutely no effort into their relationship, and he makes it sound like she is the one that was putting in all of the effort and kind of pursuing him. So, once again, I'm asking the question, is it possible that an unambiguous black woman could pedestalize a man? If he is an MLS man, if he's a white man, if he's a non black man, do you think that women like Jodie Turner Smith, women like Keke Palmer, women like apparently Simone Biles, is there a potential that these women in their minds can view these guys as the prize partially because of their phenotype? And then, sorry, I have to bring this up, but also apparently this guy said that he didn't know that she was famous, and the moment he realized how famous she was when they were out and about together going to get some ice cream. Why the fuck are you going on an ice cream date with an NFL player? I mean, if that's not low effort, I don't know what is. I mean, hopefully they were already together at this point, but I would assume that they weren't together because usually if you're getting into an actual serious relationship with someone, obviously you would know what they do for a living, but he's making it sound like, he still didn't know what she did for a living. So I'm assuming this is at the beginning of their relationship, like within the first couple of days. So not only did you have to drive 45 minutes to see this guy, he says that he doesn't know who you are, but like he basically liked the attention you were giving him because he said that she basically went on his Instagram and kind of stalked his Instagram, kind of liked all of his pics and stuff. So she's driving 45 minutes. She's liking his pics. Their first date was apparently at his house, or he just came to the house, and then they're going on ice cream dates. I would be so insulted if I went on a date with an NFL player who claims to be a millionaire, who lives in a freaking mansion or lives in a beautiful house or whatever, and then you have the audacity to take me for ice cream? And you claim to be interested in me? And then I'm supposed to chase you? And then I marry you? Anyway, what do you ladies think? Is it possible that some of these unambiguous black women could pedestalize men based on things like their phenotype, their racial background, or having a lighter complexion, or their race? Women like Jodie Turner Smith, women like Keke Palmer, and Simone Biles? What do you think? Let me know in the comment section, and I'll talk to you next time. Stay pretty, ladies.